What's going on, guys? What's going on, Thai Squad? What's going on, everybody? so, so, the New York Knicks force a game 6 against the Indiana Pacers, and the Knicks win this one 111-94. And my thing about this game is that the Knicks were just playing basketball to a high level. And you had Jalen Brunson and Karl Anthony Towns still dominated this game. You had Brunson finish with 32, 5, and 5 in 34 minutes. You had Towns with 24, 3, and 13 and 36 minutes. Those two has joined a incredible group with Akeem, with Kobe and Shaq and Akeem and Kenny Smith. The thing is about this New York Knicks team is that now you're down 3-2. Is this a wake-up call for the Pacers? Yes, it is. It is definitely a wake-up call for the Pacers. The Pacers definitely needed this wake-up call because when you look at the Pacers, Siakam 15, 5, and 6. Halliburton, only 8 points, 6 assists, 2 rebounds. Halliburton in game 4, Halliburton in game 4, Halliburton in game 4 had 32 points. Halliburton, game 4, had 32 points, 12 rebounds, 12 assists, no turnovers. But in this game, you are going to let the New York Knicks just dominate it. And let me say this. This is the first time ever. Last night we saw Indiana, the Pacers, go into a zone because Neesmith put in 6 points. Macaron put in 23. Siakam 15. But the New York Knicks did a good job by holding Halliburton to 8 points. Like, if the Pacers win game 6 tomorrow, we're going to be sitting here and talking about how the Pacers figured out game 5, how they figured out to beat the New York Knicks. I don't know if it was because the New York Knicks had Spike Lee in the front row. I don't know if it was because they had Spike Lee in the front row. Like, this series has been an amazing series to watch. Because game 1, you had Halliburton hit the Reggie Miller. Game 2, you had Siakam go off for 39. Game 3, you had the Knicks winning game 3. And then the Pacers won game 4 with Halliburton. Again, 32, 12 rebounds. Halliburton, that game, joined LeBron James and Michael Jordan and Kobe, I think. Just like Shea joined LeBron, I know I'm getting off topic here. Just like Shea joined LeBron James, Michael Jordan, doesn't mean that when you hold Halliburton, who in my opinion is a superstar, if you say to me that Halliburton isn't a superstar, if you say that to me, I would be like, just look at the game that he had, game 4, 32-12, no turnovers. Hit a shot, hit the Reggie Miller celebration. You can say that, but we could also look at this as a moment of the Pacers losing this game, letting the Knicks get a game here. Because if Indiana wants to close it out, and you're going to let Jalen Brunson score 32, you're going to let Karl Anthony Towns score 42. Like, they just joined a group of Kobe, Shaq and D-Wade, LeBron and Kyrie, Akeem. Like, when those two, Jalen Brunson and Karl Anthony Towns, joins a group like that, joins an elite group like that, like I just said, you're going to have to say here that this game had to be a win game for the Pacers, because they made easy money buckets. They had dunks. Welcome to Jam City dunks. What else can you say? Because now you got the OKC Thunder still waiting to see who they're going to face in the NBA Finals. And I'm not saying that the Pacers are a good team. It's just that what we saw from the Knicks was just like okay, we're going to win here. We're going to win here in a fashion of, are you going to figure out how to beat this team? Because Halliburton can't score. Halliburton had a tough time shooting the basketball. Halliburton had a tough time shooting the basketball, hitting easy money buckets, getting Jam City dunks. Halliburton, we can say that this Pacers team has to close it out because you have somebody that been to a finals, been to a conference finals in Siakam. The Pacers have been to 2 conference finals already. The Pacers are 2 games away. And if you let the New York Knicks, out of all teams, put up 111 points and you put up 94, and you let Towns go off for 24, you let Jalen Brunson go off for 32, you let Josh Hart go off for 12, OG Ominobi go off for 11, Bridges only scored 6 points. I think having Robinson in for the New York Knicks, the way that Tim Thibodeau changed the lineup, changed it up, I would say it was a good decision by Thibodeau to change the lineup up, because you really don't at that moment know what you're going to get. Because for Thibodeau, it seemed like the Knicks, if they lost this game, and I'm going to say this hypothetically, if they didn't hit easy money buckets, didn't get Jalen City dunks, and if Jalen Brunson and Karl Anthony Towns didn't show up last night, this game would be totally over. This series would be totally over. We would be waiting to watch the NBA Finals. We would be sitting here today if the New York Knicks did not win the game last night. We would be sitting here and saying, oh, the Knicks lost because Jalen Brunson didn't show up. Let me say this, and let me clarify this. When Jalen Brunson signed with the Knicks, a lot of New York Knicks fans were like, he's not KD, he's not Kyrie, what can he do? When Jalen Brunson came to the New York Knicks from the Dallas Mavericks and signed that contract, and then signed another contract to take a pay cut, Jalen Brunson knew what he was doing. So, let me just say this, as a basketball fan, and as a Cavaliers fan, I think right now, New York Knicks fans are celebrating, but you are going to have to play one more game. If the Knicks somehow can figure out how to force a game 7, you know what that would do for OKC and for the Pacers and for the entire NBA? They're not ready. The New York Knicks aren't ready to go home. They're just not. Because what I'm seeing is that there's a New York Knicks team that gave up 5 first-round picks for Mikal Bridges, that gave up Julius Randle for Mikal Bridges, that gave up Devin Chinzo for Mikal Bridges. I mean, that gave up for Karl Anthony Towns. Karl Anthony Towns, it seems like he's knocking on the door saying, I want to win a championship. Because on paper, this New York Knicks team is a championship team. But this Pacers team also has to close the series out. Because if you don't close the series out tomorrow night, we're basically looking at a game 7 if the Knicks win this in Indiana. Because the Knicks aren't playing around. The Knicks aren't playing around now. That is the conclusion that I have came to. Is that watching 1 through 6 games, watching game 1, how it went into overtime, and the Pacers won that. Game 2, and how the Pacers just ran over the Knicks. Game 3, how the Knicks responded back. Game 4, how the Pacers run by a big margin, and how Halliburton had a good game with no turnovers. Game 5, here we are talking about the thing about Game 5 was the Knicks figuring out a way to beat the Pacers. And if they go back to their lineup that we saw with Karl Anthony Towns probably at the 4, or Karl Anthony Towns at the 4, and Robinson at the 5, then it's honestly said here is that there is going to be a game 7 if Indiana doesn't close this out. My thing is, if I was on, let's just say this hypothetically. If I was the GM or the coach of the Pacers, I would go with a different lineup right now. Not saying that Rick Carlisle is a good coach. He has a championship. But when you say that you have to make a change, because we've seen the Warriors go to a small lineup. We've seen the Warriors go to a small lineup in 2015, 2016. We've seen teams change lineups like this. And it's hard for me to say, and hard to say, that the New York Knicks might force a game 7, but the Pacers really have to refine. I would say go into that 2-3 zone, or that zone early. Because going into a zone late in the game, in the 4th quarter, that's not going to help. That's not going to help, man. That's definitely not going to help. But guys, stay blessed, everybody, and never give up your dream. And I hope all of you guys are safe out there. And I'll see you guys in the next one. And peace.